Tonight on CTV News, brazen daylight shooting.
We're not really certain whether this individual was hit directly by a fragment of a bullet or with, let's say, some shrapnel.
Another extortion shooting targeting a Surrey mansion. The violence sending one person to hospital.
There's been a conversation and then they were handed this letter.
The NDP goes door to door to address concerns about the Cowichan land title decision. Are any Richmond residents facing issues with mortgages?
It'll connect Deer Lake and Burnaby Lake.
Major milestone, a striking new pedestrian overpass is installed over Highway 1 in Burnaby. When it'll open to the public?
This is CTV News with Mi Jung Lee.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin with breaking news. CTV News has learned of serious allegations against an Arts Club theater employee that has led to a police investigation. CTV's Yasmin Gandam is following this in the Breaking News Center. Yasmin, Vancouver police confirm there's a voyeurism investigation against the employee.
Mijung, that's right. The investigation started in August after police received a report that a number of people had been recorded inside a private changing room used by cast members. Now, this happened at the Stanley Theatre on Granville Street. The 33-year-old male employee was taken to custody on August 29th. Charges have not yet been laid, and the suspect has been released while the investigation is ongoing. CTV News was in Vancouver Provincial Court last month when he made an appearance for a hearing. He is not allowed to contact the victims or anyone associated with the Arts Club Theatre Company. Now, in a statement to CTV News, the Arts Club says he is currently not working for the company. Now, the theater says it is not able to discuss details as there is an active investigation, but says support services have been provided for the victims. VPD confirms all victims of the recordings have now been identified. Mijung?
Thank you, Yasmin. Turning now to the extortion violence rocking Metro Vancouver. The latest extortion shooter didn't even bother using the cover of night to hide their crime. Someone fired bullets at a South Surrey mansion Saturday in broad daylight. The terrifying violence also left one person injured. CTV's Martin McMahon has the story.
Shots rang out around 8:40 Saturday morning at this mansion on 32nd Avenue in South Surrey. This video being shared online appears to show the shooting with more than a dozen rounds fired. One person who was doing work on the outside of the house was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. They are now in stable condition.
We're not really certain whether this individual was hit directly by a fragment of a bullet or with, let's say, some shrapnel or whatever you would want to call it as part of the surface of the house. Doesn't really matter. The important thing is that this individual was not seriously harmed.
Police are now linking this shooting to the ongoing extortion violence plaguing Surrey.
And through that gathering of evidence, you end up interviewing parties on site, including the homeowners, including the other connections to potential businesses. And through that investigation, we have learned that there have been extortion attempts made.
For Surrey Cloverdale MLA Eleanor Sturko, a former Mountie, she feels the problem requires creative solutions, perhaps a new look at burner phones.
It's time for the government to some extent, look beyond Canada and to look to other countries that have a lot of experience in dealing with extortions, countries like Mexico, African countries, to find out, is there something more that they're doing in terms of, for example, in Mexico, dealing with phones that are unattached.
The ongoing crisis has prompted questions over whether police have the resources they need to tackle the issue.
I'm sure that the police are working really hard. One of the things they're limited by, though, is, of course, resources. Is the provincial and federal government actually giving enough money to our police forces, or are they expected to deal with this massive problem through their regular operating budgets? If they are, it's not enough.
This is the 94th suspected extortion incident in Surrey this year and the 43rd related shooting. A provincial task force dedicated to investigating these incidents has been notified. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Surrey.
Tributes are pouring in for a beloved hockey coach who was killed in a crash in Maple Ridge last night. 47-year-old Martin Hack died after a multi-vehicle collision on 128th Avenue near Leahy Street around 5:30 p.m. Sunday. Despite life-saving efforts, he was pronounced dead at the scene. Hack coached for more than a decade in Ridge Meadows minor hockey and recently led the Mission City Outlaws. Friends described him as a mentor and a pillar of the hockey community. A second person remains in critical condition as RCMP continue their investigation. The BC Supreme Court's landmark decision granting Aboriginal title to dozens of Richmond properties has sent shockwaves through this province. And now a representative from the Premier's office has traveled to the community to speak to landowners. As CTV's Shannon Patterson reports, the local MLA is outraged he wasn't told about the in-person outreach.
There are 45 properties in the part of Richmond where Aboriginal title was declared in the Cowichan court decision, and 100 additional properties that are also being claimed by the First Nation. A representative from the Premier's office is now in the process of visiting all of them.
It's been in person. So somebody has knocked on their door, they've opened up the door, and there's been a conversation, and then they were handed this letter.
This is that letter from a woman named Christine, who can be reached by email, text, or in person in Richmond until November 30th. In a statement, the Premier's office said the aim is to provide these residents and business owners with a community contact who is available to provide information and for the province to hear directly from people about any possible impacts resulting from the decision.
What this seems to be, to me, it seems to be an effort of damage control.
As the MLA for the part of Richmond that could be impacted by the Cowichan decision, Steve Cooner believes he should have been told a representative from the Premier's office was coming to his riding and knocking on the doors of his constituents. Nobody
seems to know about the consultant or the top aide that's walking around in a certain neighborhood until the media discovers it. And then there's some talking points put forward by the provincial government. And this is very concerning. We can't be having this trend of secrecy.
The letter says Christine can listen to property owners' experiences, including any impacts on mortgage, refinancing, property sales, or permits.
It's the first time in writing that the government, this current provincial government, is recognizing that there may be issues related to mortgages, financing, property values.
Cooner says he'd like that Premier's office representative to visit his constituency office while she's in Richmond.
And just let me know what her mandate is.
In early September, the province announced it's appealing the BC Supreme Court's Cowichan decision.
They never showed up then. But they're showing up now because the media is talking about it.
If the court's decision is upheld, it has implications far beyond this 300-hectare parcel of land on the Fraser River. Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Richmond.
Mounties in Kelowna are investigating after a Canadian Food Inspection Agency office was vandalized over the weekend. Photos show the storefront windows smeared with what appears to be excrement. Police say the incident was reported Sunday, and they're now reviewing surveillance video from the area in hopes of identifying the suspects. The motive is yet to be determined, but the location has been targeted by people protesting the recent cull of roughly 300 ostriches at a BC farm due to avian flu. The CFIA says that office wasn't directly involved in the decision. We're getting a better idea of the number of violent and potentially dangerous incidents unfolding inside one of BC's biggest and busiest hospitals. Information obtained by CTV News shows a troubling trend at Surrey Memorial that nurses say has reached a critical point. CTV's Michelle Bernaro has the details.
Inside hospitals, there is a code used when patients are violent or acting in a dangerous manner, and there's fear the situation could escalate. It's called a code white.
No one should ever feel unsafe or threatened in their workplace.
Surrey Memorial is experiencing an upward trend in code whites. In the first 7 months of this year, there were 634 code whites, a 9.5% increase over the same period last year. There were 125 incidents of reported violence.
The situation at Surrey Memorial Hospital has sort of reached a crisis point.
Holton recalls one particular incident at Surrey Memorial early this year when a nurse was suddenly attacked by a patient.
Got violent, and he actually threw a nurse up against the wall, and the nurse was in a chokehold.
Every violent incident, whether it's a code white or violent incident, is something that we take very seriously. Every single one is fully investigated.
While Royal Columbian has seen a decrease in code whites, Quinn says Fraser Health is looking at what may be responsible for the rise in Surrey.
We are seeing an uptake in the patient population that we serve. There's just a lot happening in society. We're a lot more challenging, complex cases of patients.
Calling for more nurses, Holton says patients waiting up to 10 hours in emerge at SMH only heightens frustration.
We often have people pull out weapons. We've pulled out everything from knives to guns to chainsaw at one point.
Holton says that for more than 20 years there have been calls for a weapons detection system at hospitals like Surrey Memorial, but that so far that hasn't materialized.
AI weapons detection technology is already used in other parts of Canada, and Fraser Health is considering a pilot project. Meanwhile, the health minister says there are now 780 specially trained security officers at BC hospitals and healthcare facilities, leading to an 8% reduction in violent incidents in just 1 year. But for healthcare staff, any measure of violence is still too much. Michelle Bernoro, CTV News, Surrey.
For the first time in nearly 3 decades, Canada has lost its measles-free status. Low vaccination rates have led to outbreaks across the country, including here in BC. CTV's St. John Alexander now on the loss of the distinction and the fight to get it back.
For nearly 3 decades, since 1998, we were considered measles-free. No more. The highly contagious disease that began spreading in the Maritimes has made its way across most of the country.
This is a bad look for us internationally. It means that we have not done what we need to do, and frankly, we need to step up our game.
On Monday, the Pan American Health Organization informed Canada it was stripping our distinction after 12 months of transmission.
We couldn't stop the outbreak completely in time to lose our elimination status. But the direction of travel is that we will get it back.
BC's health ministry says the province has 360 cases that it's aware of. Most are in the north, where nearly all involved people who weren't fully vaccinated.
It doesn't take much. You just need one case to find its way and spread it into those communities. And then what you have is it spreads like wildfire, and it really explodes with a large number of cases.
There have also been a handful of reported cases of measles in the interior. Fraser Health, Metro Vancouver, and the island. Fully vaccinated means 2 doses.
And if you're not sure, again, it's very safe to get an additional dose. So if you get an extra one, there's no problem. And then at least you've got peace of mind and you're protected.
Measles is an airborne disease and spreads easily. It can linger in a room after someone who is infected leaves. High fever, cough, conjunctivitis are common. It is rare, but can cause death.
The second the rash starts, it's like anybody would know. It's literally from head to toe, under their feet, in between their toes, everything.
Canada is confident it will get its measles-free status back. But first, we have to stop the outbreak and prove we've halted transmission for at least a year. St. John Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
It is 6:12. You're looking at a live shot of Burrard Inlet at downtown Vancouver. And the weekend was super warm. Today was very nice. We've had a good stretch.
Yes, not too bad at all. We saw a high of 15 degrees today, so very mild, very spring-like. It was cloudy, and that's what we're seeing right now across the Lower Mainland. Here's a look at temperatures. 11 degrees at the harbor, as well as in Burnaby and in Pitt Meadows and Abbotsford. 12 degrees still in Surrey and in Chilliwack, so a very warm night out there. Our low is 10, which is above the seasonal average of 3. We'll see a few clouds, and then into tomorrow we'll see mostly cloudy skies for the services for Remembrance Day. We'll see some sunny breaks in there as well, and a warm 12 degrees.
CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next trip by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
Perfect timing. The rain is holding off for Remembrance Day services, but it does come back on Wednesday. I've got your full forecast coming up.
Yeah, at least it'll be nice and mild, though, for tomorrow.
Exactly.
All right, thank you, Anne. A new landmark has settled over Highway 1 near Burnaby Lake. A pedestrian overpass was maneuvered into position this weekend, and officials believe the way it was done is a first in Canada. And as CTV's Dimitra Maragos shows us, it was a huge effort.
Residents and experts agree that Burnaby has felt disjointed, but now it's time to bridge that gap literally with the Burnaby Lake overpass. Change in scenery on Highway 1 close to the Kensington and Gallardy Way exits. The Burnaby Lake overpass, a 400-ton pedestrian overpass, was hoisted more than 5.5 meters in the air using computer-controlled platforms over the weekend.
The freeway has always been a barrier in Burnaby.
Burnaby Mayor Mike Hurley says it better links the city.
It'll connect Deer Lake and Burnaby Lake. It'll also give connections from East Burnaby right down here to all our new facilities that are coming.
While they're still nailing down the details, those who frequent the area,
it is a very good asset for this area, and we like it.
Seem to be excited, including Joga Randawa.
We have been waiting for this for a long time.
Adding it takes him 90 minutes to get to the other side of Highway 1. But when the overpass is done,
maybe less than 5 minutes.
Randawa isn't the only one.
I'm delighted because it's on my bike route when I go to our downtown campus.
Peter Hall, a professor of urban studies at SFU, says this was long overdue.
It's been difficult to move from the north side to the south side of Burnaby for a long time.
He says effective cities need to have practical infrastructure, which is exactly what he says the Burnaby Lake overpass does.
It connects up key parts of Burnaby's civic infrastructure.
But adds more needs to be done.
There are other places where these kind of linkages are still needed.
There's still quite a bit of work to be done. The pedestrian overpass isn't set to open until spring of next year. Demetra Marigo, CTV News, Burnaby.
What to expect from this year's Remembrance Day ceremonies in Victory Square in downtown Vancouver. Also ahead.
So you've never seen this picture before?
No. Downtown streets honor the soldiers who fought in World War I, a pilgrimage to the past, and a family's stunning discovery. When CTV News continues. Stay with us.
I'm Andrew Johnson. Tonight on CTV National News, inside the country's largest Royal Canadian Legion.
It's an amazing place. It's a beautiful building.
How one BC branch has managed to thrive and why there's new hope at Legions right across the country. Tonight on CTV National News and ctvnews.ca.
On the eve of Remembrance Day, families around the world are gathering to pay respects to relatives who served in the Canadian military. As CTV's Craig Krause found out, one family who has arrived in Vancouver is looking to honor their grandfather by reuniting him with his fellow soldiers.
Through the hustle and bustle of downtown Vancouver, a row of banners honoring Canadian veterans are placed atop the light poles.
And there's great-grandpa Shishido.
The image of Private Masajiro Shishido, the great-grandfather of Justin Ault, is displayed outside of Hotel Vancouver, a man who served his new country in the First World War.
Part duty, part it was a way to show other Canadians at a time of a lot of racism and discrimination that, hey, we're part of this country also.
And he wasn't alone.
The 10th Battalion numbered around 50 individuals from different parts of British Columbia.
A group documented by local historian Debbie Zhang, who has been working to keep their memory alive.
When the soldiers reached France, of course, they were split up into areas where they were needed.
Zhang says they quickly proved themselves, even though there were doubts with their lack of English.
Many of whom had served in the Russo-Japanese War of 1904 and 5. These were hardened veterans who knew what battle was.
Information collected after countless hours of digging, the effort making its way to Southern California.
A friend of mine said, hey, you know, this lady is giving a call out for photos of World War I veterans in uniform. And I said, I don't have a photo in uniform, and I'm looking for a photo of Grandpa in uniform.
But Zhang had what Catherine Uchida was looking for.
So you've never seen this picture before?
No.
Uchida and her family arriving in Vancouver from Los Angeles.
He's right on the corner, right next to the old Hudson Bay building.
Walking together along West Georgia as their grandfather's image is among the hundreds of soldiers being honored.
You wonder how many people, you know, actually look up and look and read and see all that. But who would have thought that?
The story doesn't end there. Uchida is not only here to take part in Remembrance Day, but has uncovered a family secret.
Right now, his ashes are at the Buddhist temple in Vancouver, and it's been sitting there since 1953.
Leaving Uchida looking to bury his ashes in a military cemetery where he can be laid to rest with his fellow Canadian soldiers.
I need to make this right. I'm on a quest.
Craig Crow, CTV News, Vancouver.
Communities across Canada will come together tomorrow to pay tribute to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country. One of the biggest ceremonies will be in Vancouver's Victory Square. The president of one local Legion branch stopped by your morning to explain what people can expect.
Highly emotional, and it's gotten very busy in recent years. For some reason, interest is picking up, and I would say to people that want to attend in person, come early. Otherwise, you'll be at the back of a crowd. You'll see the veterans marching by, and the local reserve units, HMCS Discovery for the Navy, and the Army Reserve units, and cadet corps and squadrons.
He says if you can't make it out to a ceremony, make sure you observe the 2-minute moment of silence at 11 a.m. And we'll be streaming the ceremony live from Victory Square on our website, ctvnewsvancouver.ca, starting at 10 o'clock. Tim Hortons is marking Remembrance Day by offering a free hot beverage to Canadian veterans and active duty military members. Anyone with a valid Veterans Service Card, military ID, or in uniform can claim a drink of their choice at any location nationwide tomorrow. The company says it's a small gesture to honor the service and sacrifice of those who have defended Canada. We'll have the latest on the U.S. government shutdown that has canceled thousands of flights. Also ahead.
Poppy is a symbol of remembrance, and that's all it is.
Major pushback in Nova Scotia, where court staff have been banned from wearing poppies. What's behind the decision and reaction from the Premier? That's next. This suspension bridge caught in the fury of Typhoon Fangwang is just one snapshot of the chaos unfolding across the Philippines. The super typhoon slammed ashore Sunday night with winds reaching 230 kilometers an hour. At least 8 people are dead. More than 1.4 million have been displaced, and power is out across entire provinces. This follows Typhoon Kalmegi, which struck less than a week ago and killed at least 224 people. World leaders are gathering in Brazil this week for COP30 amid growing pressure to act on climate change before it's too late. But with some major players pulling back, questions are mounting about whether the summit can deliver real progress. CTV's Scott Hurst reports.
International leaders are being urged to tackle the climate crisis with more urgency and more cooperation, but it comes at a time when some key global partners appear to be backing away from the climate fight.
I am very worried about Canada's participation, given that the recent signals that we have gotten from Prime Minister Carney and his government have only been about moving back on existing policy.
The Canadian delegation might face some criticism at the COP30 summit getting underway in Brazil as climate observers point to the recent budget that's big on development and an expansion of energy projects, but a retreat of some Trudeau-era climate policies. Environment Minister Julie Tabruzin, who's leading Canada's delegation, however, pitching the Liberals' climate competitiveness strategy as a shifting approach that she claims will connect climate ambitions with economic growth. But the framework is short on details and provides no update on where Canada stands on emission reduction targets.
This strategy connects our climate ambition with a plan for economic growth. It prioritizes measures that deliver the greatest emissions reductions and increases competitiveness at the lowest cost for Canadians.
To no surprise, U.S. President Donald Trump is not attending COP30. He's been critical of climate science and has pulled the U.S. from the landmark Paris Agreement of a decade ago, meant as a framework to hold nations accountable in limiting warming. That's leading to questions about the relevancy of the summit and its ability to pull nations together when some are pulling back. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
U.S. Senate Majority Leader John Toon is urging lawmakers to end the 6-week government shutdown, the longest in American history.
I would encourage every member of this body, Democrat or Republican, pro-bill or anti-bill, not to stand in the way of our being able to deliver the coming relief quickly. The American people have suffered for long enough.
8 moderate Democrats broke ranks last night, voting to advance a compromise bill to end the shutdown. The deal could restore food subsidies for struggling families, back pay for thousands of federal workers, and end flight delays that have disrupted travel, including for Canadians. But the Senate still needs to hold a final vote, and then the Republican-controlled House must approve it before the president can sign it into law. Nova Scotia courts are standing by a directive allowing judges to bar court staff from wearing poppies, a move they say is about protecting impartiality. But the move has angered many, including retired Canadian Armed Forces veteran Major Ken Hines.
Poppy is a symbol of remembrance, and that's all it is. Yeah. It's got nothing to do with anything else, and absolutely nothing to do with politics. Yeah. The revisionism that exists today in terms of what things mean is absolute nonsense.
In a statement defending the directive, Nova Scotia judiciary emphasized the need for neutrality in courtrooms, pointing to a hypothetical case involving a veteran and non-veteran. But legal experts say such scenarios are rare. Premier Tim Houston has condemned the move and says he's prepared to introduce legislation to protect workers' rights to wear the poppy. Actor Mike Smith, best known for his role as Bubbles on the long-running series Trailer Park Boys, was arraigned in a Halifax court today on a charge of sexual assault. The assault allegedly happened in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, back in December 2017. Details of the incident haven't been made public, and the identity of the complainant is protected by a publication ban. Smith has stepped away from his role as managing director of the show's production company while the legal process unfolds. 2 Major League pitchers are embroiled in a betting scandal. What they are accused of doing. Also ahead.
And we were really focused on bringing in a professional sports tenant.
An historic makeover for the Pacific Coliseum as it's about to host the Professional Women's Hockey League when the Vancouver Golden Eyes take to the ice. That's ahead. It's a landmark in Vancouver, and now it is becoming history in the Professional Women's Hockey League. The Pacific Coliseum got a facelift ahead of Vancouver's inaugural puck drop. And as CTV's Brianne Foley shows us, home ice advantage takes on a new meaning here.
Members of the 2025-26 Vancouver Golden Eyes to take to the ice for the very first time.
Thanks to the Pacific Coliseum, double history will be made for the Professional Women's Hockey League this season.
We worked really hard with the PWHL to convince them that Vancouver was their city and the Pacific Coliseum was their place.
PNE's opened up their venue to us and making us the primary stakeholder. It's actually the very first moment that the players saw the logo at center ice as well.
Being part of the league's first expansion and by branding the ice as the Golden Eyes, this becomes the first venue in league history that has a PWHL team as its primary tenant.
I just keep hearing from the team, it's almost indescribable to them that because they're second or third in line to other professional teams in their other venues.
And as the first day of training camp wrapped up, the team tried to put it into words.
We're really excited. We're really grateful to be the primary tenants at the Pacific Coliseum. It's really special to have our logo at center ice.
How special and cool that is for us to have that identity in the building and, a sense of ownership with the facility and all the history here to kind of have that opportunity to write our own chapter. Super special.
Stepping on the ice and seeing our logo in the ice, it's so incredible, it's historic, and we just can't wait to get things rolling here.
Maybe even more so for Surrey's own Jen Gardner.
The first team, the first female hockey team here in Vancouver to skate onto the Pacific Coliseum with our logo at center. There's no feeling to describe it. It's home. I can't wait to see it packed with fans and just so many friends and family as well, and I think it's going to be incredible.
Training camp continues all week. The puck drops on November 21st. Brianne Foley, CTV News, Vancouver.
Fans of The Wizard of Oz will have a rare chance to own iconic memorabilia from the original film, and one item could leave the lucky recipient spellbound.
killed my sister? Who killed the Witch of the East? Was it you? Well, my little pretty...
An iconic black hat worn by Margaret Hamilton as the Wicked Witch of the West will be up for grabs. The wool hat is quite large, measuring 35 centimeters high. Also available will be a Wizard of Oz book signed by Judy Garland and other main cast members. The auction is set for December 9th and 10th at Heritage Auctions in Dallas and also online. See, the hat, though, there's nothing really that special about the hat. I'd rather have the ruby slippers.
Well, that's not for sale.
Nah, and actually, they already went for auction for like $28 million.
Yeah. Well, the next best thing is the hat, so a great Christmas present. I'll let John know.
All right. All right, he's watching, so yeah, I'm sure he's taken note of that.
Perfect. And the book possibly as well. All right, let's take a look at our forecast. Yesterday, it was a warm one. We saw a high of 16 degrees. Today, we saw a high of 15, well, close to it, 14.9 degrees. The seasonal average is 9.3, and our overnight lows, warmer than the seasonal average, a high 10.5 degrees. Our average is 3.6 degrees, and with some rain last night, we had 37.4 millimeters, still a ways away from the 171 millimeters of rain for the month. We do have the warm air moving its way in from south of the border with the ridge there, but a frontal system heading towards the north coast, bringing in some showers. So here's how everything will play out as we head through this evening. As you can see, a line of showers dropping all the way down to the northern tip of Vancouver Island, continuing into tomorrow morning before it eases. We will stay dry for the services at 11 o'clock tomorrow. West Coast Vancouver Island will continue to see periods of rain and mostly cloudy skies for us as we head into tomorrow afternoon, with more rain for the north coast of Vancouver Island. You'll see mostly sunny skies for the northeast corner of the province. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen there. The showers I mentioned for Port Hardy with a high of 9 degrees. Early morning showers for Campbell River and Comox, drying up with some sunny breaks and 10s for tomorrow for the South Island. Rain, as mentioned before, for Tofino, 10 degrees. Showers for Port Alberni. Other than that, you're looking at a mix of sun and cloud from Nanaimo right down to Victoria. Temperatures between 10 and 11 degrees. You'll see sunny breaks for the Sunshine Coast and a high of 10. Same story up the Sea to Sky Highway for Squamish at 11. A few scattered showers for Whistler and a few sunny breaks as well with a high of 7. And for us across the Lower Mainland, we'll see mostly cloudy skies tomorrow. Temperatures between 9 and 11 degrees. And then the rain returns for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Into Saturday, it eases. We'll see cloudy skies with a few showers. Rain once again on Sunday morning before it dries up. And then slowly clearing for Monday, a mix of sun and cloud and a high of 9. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So perfect timing for a dry day tomorrow before the next rounds of rain rolls in.
And sometimes Remembrance Day is very frosty and cold, so at least it'll be double digits.
Yes, very nice.
All right, thanks, Ann.
Welcome.
Record-breaking snow blanketed parts of Ontario on the weekend, but it didn't prevent an incredible goal on the soccer field, now dubbed the icicle kick.
I need adequate compensation for my loss.
And a travel nightmare when an airline told a man he had to check in his carry-on bag and then lost it. His battle to get compensation, that's ahead. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 71 cents to the American dollar. Oil was up 38 cents, closing the day at $60.13 U.S. a barrel. Gold gained more than $112 on the day. The TSX and the Dow Jones both ended the day higher, up 404 points and 381 points, respectively. In movie news, the latest installment in the Predator franchise dominated the weekend box office.
You're after a creature that can't be killed.
Predator Badlands is the 9th movie in the sci-fi series, destroying the competition with $40 million U.S. across North America. Colleen Hoover's Regretting You brought in more than $7 million as the runner-up, and Black Phone 2 held on to its spot in the top 3 with $5.3 million in ticket sales. An iconic Canadian rock band is hitting the road for the first time in 23 years. The Guess Who have announced a 2026 Canadian tour. While Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman have performed together over the past few years, a legal fight with former band members prevented them from using the Guess Who name. That case has now been settled. An Ontario man is speaking out after his luggage, filled with expensive items, went missing on a flight to Jamaica with his wife. He had put the expensive jewelry in his carry-on bag, but he says the airline forced him to check the bag and then lost it. CTV's Pat Foran has more.
You knew you had expensive stuff in that bag, which is why you wanted to keep it.
That is why I wanted to keep it.
Stafford Gordon of Oshawa is a collector of gold jewelry and luxury watches. In August, he went with his wife to Jamaica for a memorial service and to celebrate their 34th wedding anniversary. He took 2 watches, jewelry, suits, shoes, and other items. He used a carry-on so his suitcase would stay with him at all times. But at the last moment, an airline staffer took it and said it must be checked.
He just took the bag and stepped away and left. Called back and said, "What seat are you in?" And I was like, 23, and he just left.
Gordon says when they got to Jamaica, his suitcase was missing.
I found out that there was nothing. They had no record of my bags, nothing. It was gone. So I had to attend now the memorial in my travel clothes.
Gordon flew American Airlines, and when he complained, he was told to provide receipts for the missing items. But he says some of the jewelry and watches were 10 to 20 years old, so he didn't have them. He estimates the missing goods are valued at $10,000.
My jewelry alone is worth at least $8,000.
When CTV News reached out to American Airlines, a spokesperson said, "Our team has been in touch with the passenger to learn more about their experience and address their concerns. We are working with them to come to a resolution." In the end, Gordon was compensated $1,272, which was not enough for him.
I need adequate compensation for my loss.
You have a carry-on allowance. The airline has to honor that.
Air passenger rights advocate Gabor Lukash says Gordon should have been given $3,000 as a starting point, and if he can prove the value of his items, he should get much more. He advises Gordon to take the airline to small claims court.
If the airline takes your baggage, they are liable for your baggage. They have to deliver it back to you.
Gordon says it was a frustrating experience, and he still wants more compensation for his lost carry-on. Pat Foran, CTV News.
We've seen plenty of Grey Cups played in the snow, but this isn't as typical. A very chilly Canadian Premier League final, that's still to come. Plus, Thrifty Bees. Adam finds out the story behind a store filled with at least 5 surprises. Coming up on the Sawatsky Sign-Off. Right now, here's a preview of your morning, Vancouver.
After nearly 3 decades, Canada's measles elimination status is gone. Wednesday on Your Morning Vancouver, we speak to an infectious disease expert to find out why we lost it and what can be done to get it back. Plus, the 3 rules you should be following when setting up a TFSA. We're back after the Remembrance Day holiday. We'll see you Wednesday morning.
Major League Baseball pitchers have found themselves embroiled in a betting scandal. The allegations are centered on Cleveland Guardians pitcher Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz. They are accused of taking bribes to throw particular pitches and ensure bets placed on them paid off. An unsealed indictment claims the duo took thousands of dollars from 2 gamblers. Among the charges the pair face include conspiracy, wire fraud, and money laundering. A Chinese runner has set a new 100-mile record in one of the world's most extreme and remote endurance tests. China's Yu Shangni smashed the record at the Antarctic Ice Ultra, finishing in 22 hours, 40 minutes, and 47 seconds. He broke the record set just last year by more than 42 minutes. The athletes battled possible frostbite and exposure, racing in temperatures around negative 15 degrees Celsius during the day and as low as negative 30 during the night. The Canadian Premier League is making headlines all over the world thanks to an incredible goal being dubbed the icicle kick.
And he wants to claim in the air. Bicycle! Oh my God! The most incredible goal in CPL history!
With ice in his veins, David Rodriguez scored a stunning overhead kick for Atletico Ottawa in last night's CPL final. It was a uniquely Canadian contest with multiple delays, including a 40-minute delay to plow the snow from the pitch before extra time. Rodriguez would score both Ottawa goals to help capture Atletico's first North Star Cup, defeating defending champions Calgary FC in extra time.
How did they even see the goal? It was a blizzard.
And how did they not slip?
Yeah, I think that's why the goalie probably just didn't see. You know, his vision was blurred.
A little bit.
But clearly this player has a knack for playing in the snow.
Yeah.
He's going to want more finals.
He's in Canada.
In blizzard conditions, right? Okay, and that was a taste of just some of the record-breaking snow that has blanketed parts of Ontario. The cleanup is on in Toronto, where nearly 10 centimeters of snow fell on Sunday, with even more today. The storm marks the city's highest two-day snowfall this early in the year in 44 years. And down the road in the nation's capital, as you saw, nearly 12 centimeters dumped down on Ottawa yesterday, making it the snowiest November 9th recorded since 1897.
A lot of snow.
That is quite the record to break.
And we had 15 degrees today.
I know. We don't want to gloat too much. Okay, Yasmin's here with a look ahead to your late news.
Well, a popular hiking trail on the island will be closed for the next couple of weeks. We'll have those details tonight. Plus, more from a vigil held tonight for Ridge Meadows minor hockey coach Martin Hack, who died in a car crash Sunday. The legacy he leaves behind coming up at 11:30.
He was a much beloved coach.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Yasmin. Well, a thrift store on Vancouver Island is buzzing with surprises beyond the shelves. It's a passion project for one woman, as well as a tribute to her mother-in-law. Adam explains in tonight's Sawatsky sign-off.
This is a story about a store that's filled with at least 5 surprises.
This is partial of one of my collections.
First, despite its owner, Barb DeCuto, having a collection of dozens of decorative bees.
I'm actually allergic to bees, but I do have my bee thing.
Second, despite this being a thrift store, none of these bees are for sale.
They've been given to me to the store because it's a bee.
Before she reveals why these bees are gifts from her customers, Barb explains the third surprise, that the store's bee theme was inspired by what happened after her mother-in-law's funeral.
And there was a bee, and we just kind of shooed it out, and it just went around the house and came in the back door.
And this happened so many times, with the bee flying right up to each family member every time, that everyone agreed. It felt like more than a bee.
And all the kids and the grandkids now, if they see a bee, they say, oh, there's Grandma D.
So Barb named her store Thrifty Bee. And then, as if on cue, surprise number 4.
Spooky as we're talking about this.
Our conversation is interrupted by an actual bee.
Whoa. There is my mother-in-law. She was here for the interview as well.
Or perhaps she wants to remind her daughter-in-law not to be so humble and mention surprise number 5, that since opening the store more than 20 years ago, Barb has never received a paycheck.
I do it for free, but it's not free to do.
When Barb's not offering affordable goods to all sorts of community members in need, she's partnering with community kitchens and homeless shelters to offer items for free.
I like to be able to help. I always have it.
And Barb's customers almost always return to offer their thanks by gifting her some sort of bee.
So it's a good day every day.
And, no surprise, on the days Grandma Dee drops by for a visit, it's even better. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Esquimalt.
I think it may have been a wasp and not a bee.
Yeah, you never know. You don't want one of
Ruin your
those.
story.
No, it was a bee.
Let's just say it was a bumblebee.
Exactly. Adorable. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. A stunning sunset in Oyster Bay on the island. Thanks, Lauren, for sending this gorgeous shot in, and we want to see your scenic snapshot as well. So email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Beautiful shot. And a reminder, we'll be streaming the Remembrance Day ceremony tomorrow starting at 10 a.m. on ctvvancouver.ca. Thanks for joining us.